Air Burkina, the national airline of Burkina Faso, that was re-established again under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traore, has now acquired its second aircraft from Embraer E170, which is a Brazilian aircraft manufactured in Brazil, and also E190 aircraft from China. So the first one was delivered back in September 2024. That was Embraer E190. Now in October, the second one is delivered, which is Embraer E170. Both aircrafts currently what Air Burkina owns are they are made in Brazil, but the transaction happened from China. It's China who sold it to Burkina Faso. Now, these aircraft were purchased, of course, to relaunch the airline and were acquired under President Ibrahim Traore's leadership, with the state-owned airline growing, owning them directly. It's 100% owned by the government of Burkina Faso, and the airline itself it's a state-owned one. Now, here is the news directly from Burkina Faso. Let me just go through it with you. Look, it says in Burkina Faso, the national airline Air Burkina has acquired a second aircraft, a Brazilian Embraer E190. Okay, so the purchase is linked to the carrier's desire to increase the number of flights within the country and beyond, meaning now Air Burkina is flying within the country a domestic flight, and also regionally in West Africa. It flies, I think, to Ghana and Togo and other parts of West Africa as well. Here is a quote from the official, from the government of Burkina Faso. With the arrival of this aircraft, Air Burkina strengthens let me just get back. Air Burkina strengthens its capabilities in providing air transport services, offering more comfort and safety for passengers. Now, according to the airline statement, the addition of the second Embraer 190 to the country's air fleet demonstrates the national carrier ambition to expand its flight routes. But here is what my reflection is. This addition of a second aircraft, again produced by Brazil, Embraer, known as Embraer, demonstrates something beyond that. Now, usually when we talk about aircraft, airlines, national airlines owning aircraft, it's all about of Boeing, even to some of us, when we think of aircraft, it's something of equivalent to Boeing. We cannot think of something else, because that's what we are accustomed with and what our governments mostly subscribe to. So for government of Burkina Faso to go beyond that, I mean, Boeing is owned by the United States and Airbus is owned by France. They both are from the West. So they have big influence. The West has big influence for national airlines to buy their products when they come and fund you, give you loan, when you ask and knock their door, this so-called financial institutions, but run by the Western government. Behind the scene, what's not disclosed to the people is that the government sign an agreement to buy such big products, if of course there's a national airline and other things from those countries, rather than you cannot diversify your transaction with other countries, be it like China or others. So what Burkina Faso did is that, look, I'm not playing by the rule of the game. I am doing what I want and what benefits my people. So there's of course a benefit that comes with diversifying your aircrafts. First of all, because it's a big amount, you're talking about a geopolitical alignment. Okay, it's not just one item being sold. The aircraft business is something else influence it, even if it might be a private company that produces Boeing or Airbus, but the governments have big influence on that. You have seen Ethiopian Airlines, of course, it's the largest, the biggest in Africa, or the largest, and also in the world as well. But its aircrafts are from Boeing and from Airbus, and the funding comes as well from the West, meaning to get a loan to buy your aircraft. So, I mean, there are pros and cons. Now, let me just unpack this for you. Look, countries may buy aircraft from, there is also China's COMAC. Okay, now alternatives, if you ask alternatives to the Boeing of USA and Airbus of France, is that there's a COMAC of China, and then there is Embraer of Brazil. Now, for benefits such as it's a geopolitical alignment, industrial development, market access, and potential cost or delivery advantage. And also there are pros that comes also with Boeing and Airbus, because when the whole world is accustomed with such products, it's already an established market, dominance, okay, extensive support networks. So that is, but for government of Burkina Faso, look, I'm going to take a challenge, the cons that comes with it, and still I'm going to make a decision, because it's not, still it's expensive, but it's not the same thing like Boeing and Airbus. Now, the benefits for buying from China or Brazil, number one, in terms of geopolitical and economic partnerships, buying from China can be influenced by strong diplomatic and economic ties, potentially leading to preferential treatment or a strategic alliance. Similarly, purchasing from Brazil Embraer fosters a relationship with a key aerospace partner in South America. The second one is industrial development. Governments often support their domestic aircraft industry to create jobs, develop high-tech skills, and build a more robust national economy. The third one is market access. China in particular has a massive domestic market and is keen to establish its own aircraft manufacturer, COMAC, as a global player. Buying a Chinese plane could be a strategic move to gain, of course, access within this key market, but also it's an alternative. You will avoid that, the influences and these forced agreements that comes with it, that are signed under the table, because you happen to buy, aircraft from them. And these are the things. Also, it's a potential for competitive pricing, because as new manufacturers, COMAC of the China and Embraer of Brazil, they enter the market, so they may offer more competitive pricing or favorable financing to gain market share, especially when competing against established Boeing and Airbus aircraft manufacturers. There's also strategic independence that comes with it. Like for some countries, relying less on traditional aerospace giants could be a strategic goal to reduce vulnerability and increase national autonomy in critical sectors. Now, don't get me wrong, there's also a benefit that comes by buying Boeing and Airbus, because it's already an established market access and network as well. But in any case, well done by the government of Burkina Faso for acquiring their second aircraft after it is relaunched or reestablished again under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traore. Now, since he came to power, it's only 3 year or 4 year maximum, I think. And he relaunched the Air Burkina in 2024. So now he bought now the second, I say he, but the country bought the second aircraft. It's 100% owned by the state, just like before. It's not by share, which most of the Western, actually in Africa, except the Ethiopian Airlines, which is fully a state-owned airline. Okay, So most of them, it's a share. Their colonial, previous colonial powers or others, they come, or private companies as well. Private airline companies come and buy a share in it. But this one is fully 100% state-owned, just as what Ibrahim Traore is forging his country to take back his own, their own resources as well. Well, another thing, you may ask, if China produced Comac, how come, having such a good relationship with Burkina Faso, how come it did not sell to Burkina Faso? Comac, it has already the C919, which is an equivalent of the Boeing 737 MAX. But the thing is that it's new. It's a new manufacturer relatively, and the thing is to get a permission of a fly zone, there is this company in the United States and in Europe that gives you the permission, that certifies you, the US Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, and the European Union Aviation Safety Agency, EASA. This companies have to certify you. So, and the Comac is now waiting for their certification, and this will take, normally even it takes years, but also knowing that Comac is a competitor of Boeing and Airbus of the Europe or France, this will not likely to happen anytime soon. You have seen how the Chinese electric vehicles, EVs, are dominating the market, and because of that, the United States is putting additional tariff, and the European as well, which backfired as well. I'm just giving you a bit of a background on the whole this aviation thing. Well, and the trade war between the US versus China as well. But in spite of all this, Ibrahim Traore is doing what he thinks is the best for his own people, to fly domestically. He is the one, his country is the one that certifies it, and to fly. But Embraer, as opposed to Comac, it has that certification of or permission to fly, whether be it in Europe and other places. Okay, it has no restrictions whatsoever. Thank you very much again for tuning in. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, share the video with others, support us through our PayPal account, and I will see you on the next one soon. Bye.